before you post another flyer for an outreach event, give another treatment, or just say you're not ready. Let me remind you that consistency beats perfection every time. Yes. Hi guys, welcome back to Rts Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host, Linda Fry, the Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome to anyone new. And this week, the Rts Share Tea Podcast, it's celebrating its 4th year anniversary during Respiratory Care Week. Yay! Yes, we are so excited. We are in pre-K. We know our ABCs, our 1, 2, 3s. We are coloring both in and outside the lines, but that's okay. It's all good. Today, we are talking about consistency and credibility as a respiratory therapist and the power of showing up. Yes, very excited to talk about this topic. But first, let me say thank you to my past guest co-hosts, some of the castmates from the show The Shift, Brandon and Kevin, who came through the last time to speak about their experiences on The Shift, the new show created by respiratory coach on how it is to be a respiratory therapist. And they premiered their episode this past Sunday. So check them out. We are super excited to have something like that to showcase what we do in the RT profession. I also want to say thank you to all of the Weezers, the Weezer tribe, for supporting the show, the Rts Share Tea Podcast, and the Asthma Lady all these years, over the past 4 years. Thank you for all of you guys who come up to me during speaking engagements all throughout the country on asthma self-management and asthma disparities. For you guys for just continue the dialogue and having the same passion and just us uniting and getting this work done. In a world that's super loud and full of distraction, consistency is a superpower. And credibility is not just about what you have done. It's about how you continuously show up. So for those of you who don't know, I share every year, I share the story of how I started the Rts Share Tea Podcast. And really what it was, I started it 1 year during a little bit after COVID. I was on maternity leave, and I had gotten the opportunity to do a presentation for Respiratory Care Week, and it was called How to Be a Happier Respiratory Therapist and Take Control of Your Career. Now, when I did the webinar, I thought in myself, 50 people, if 50 people showed up, 60 people showed up, to me that would have been a successful presentation as a no-name speaker. But when 850 people logged in, I couldn't believe it. And the tone that I got, of course, was people were struggling in the RT profession, just, experiencing, what I experienced too, which was burnout and just not knowing what to expect for tomorrow and what that looks like, and just finding happiness at that time. And when I was able to describe how I did it and the reaction that I got from that webinar, I said, no brainer, I'm starting a podcast, right? So Rts Share Tea was given birth to, and like I like to tell people, sharing tea is intentional, spilling it is an accident, right? When we spill something, we usually, we say it's an accident, but sharing is very intentional. And that's always what I wanted with this show. And I show up and as the Asthma Lady, really to continue to educate those that we may not have a connection to, right? As healthcare providers, and just breaking down, asthma management in a way that can be easily digest. So that's really what I did with this podcast and what I continue to do. And so that's really what I want to talk about, is just how you can continue to be consistent and show up and utilize that superpower to really get the message across. And so the core message of this episode is that consistency builds trust. Showing up builds trust. Consistency does not mean perfection. It doesn't. And what the evidence for me and what I have seen over the past years, since I've started the podcast, since I started public speaking, since I started my own business, is really that I consistently show up as my authentic self. And the evidence is showcased to me when people come up to me and they're like, wow, Linda, you are exactly the way you are on the podcast. The way that you speak on the podcast is the way that I speak when I do speaking engagements, is the way that I speak when I do community outreach, is the way that I speak to my patients, is the way that I speak to my coworkers, is the way that I speak to higher leadership. It's how I talk. I like to have a good time. I like to make sure that everyone understands potential difficult content when it comes to things like a complex disease like asthma. So this is how I collect evidence that this builds trust. People trust you because what you are showcasing consistently is that, oh, this is really you. This is how you really carry yourself and how you speak and how you showcase yourself to the world. This is the real you. And what I also like to tell people is that that's why I'm very careful with what I say yes to, because my standard is to show up, to deliver with a positive attitude. I am the Amazon Prime of what I do. All right, guys, so let's go over how to stay consistent. So here are some practical tips, right? So first, start small. Start small, all right? So when you want to begin anything and you're telling yourself you want to show up, right? So let's say you want to create a podcast, you want to create content, you want to do anything that where you are in the beginning, right? You want to start small. You never want to bite off more than you can chew, right? Because the intention is to continue to do this new thing. So start small, and you get to create what consistency looks like for you. And so that's why you want to make sure you're giving yourself maybe not a schedule that's too tight. You want to give yourself grace to learn to build the new habit. Another tip is to create a habit, right? Create a routine, right? So create a routine. So make it around whatever the new thing you want to do to stay consistent in. Put it in a way that it's already part of your daily or weekly routine. All right. So for me, I shoot either, like when I shoot the podcast, I shoot on Mondays, right? So that's a good day for me, and because that is the day where less people are cutting their grass, right? So I get less noise on Mondays, and so that is the best day for me to shoot, and it just helped me to know that Monday is going to be my shoot day. So pick something like that where you know it works for you. Another tip is make it enjoyable. Yes, you want to have a good time. You don't want it to be like a chore or like, dang, just another thing you got to get off your plate. You want to have a good time. So for me, I make sure my environment is set up accordingly when I am ready to create content or shoot the podcast, or that's really what helped me to stay consistent. The next tip I have is to set reminders, right? You want to remind yourself of the intention. That's really what helps, you know. So for me, I have my vision boards. I have, I constantly share the story of my patient that passed away in 2010. It was a 5-year-old boy that passed away from asthma. And this helps me to remember my intentions. Like, why do I do what I do as the Asthma Lady? And it gives me the fuel to consistently show up, you know. And like I said, I have the visuals. I know that 25 million people in America have asthma, and are 50% of them, more than 50% of them are not well controlled, right? Or think they are well controlled, right? And the numbers are worse for those in minority groups. So all these stuff I have around me, and it really does help me to keep the fire, to keep showing up, right? And of course, the supporters, the wheezers, when I meet people and I get questions and I'm outside and I'm doing community outreach, this is in my mind, and I know that there is a need for this stuff. So I'm showing up for the people, right? What I do is not trendy per se, right? Asthma education, asthma management is never a sexy topic, really, but it's necessary. And what I do is I try to cut down the material, so once again it's digestible for everyone. Oh, and I also don't want to forget to tell you guys to also track your progress, right? Celebrate those wins, the small wins, the big wins. Track your milestones for anything when you're trying to be consistent. Like, wow, I only had 5 episodes and now I have 50. I only have, I only had but a handful of followers and now I have 200 followers. So really, really give yourself the high fives for those milestones. Make sure that you consistently just remember your goal. Have the goal. So when you want to be consistent, you want to remember, why am I doing what I'm doing, right? Be consistent. This really helps with being consistent. Those reminders and tracking your progress. All right, guys. So yes, I just wanted to say thank you again for your support. And for any RTs that want to create content, create a podcast, anything like that, want to get the message across for whatever your discipline is, know that there is a space for you. There's a space for everyone. There's an audience for everyone. Trust me. Okay. And I think whenever someone starts, that is the first thing you have to shift your mindset on. Like, no, it doesn't matter if there are a million podcasts out there or a million YouTube channels. Your channel is not there yet. Your podcast is not there yet. There is a space for you. And especially when it comes to respiratory for us RTs. Like this is still a profession a lot of people don't know about. So yes, the messages, we need these messages to show that this profession is a good one. All right. There's a lot of opportunities out here. You could take care of your family, help people, and really thrive if you choose to do so. Okay. So really about taking control of your career. So these messages, they need to be out there. So I'm here for it. Whenever people DM me all the time. They want to start creating content. They want to start podcasts and stuff like that. The key is to just do it. That's all you got to do. You just have to start, and you really just learn as you go what works for you and your audience. All right, guys. So I want to hear from you. How do you stay consistent? What do you do? Right, guys? So once again, shout outs to everyone, all the RTs during Respiratory Care Week. I see you. Appreciate you for all that you do. And I know even if where I work doesn't show the love the way I want them to show the love, I know that my patients appreciate me. Okay, just by the feedback, what they say, building the rapport, I know that in my heart. So it really does, once again, help me to stay consistent with being there and being my best self for them, to really help them along their journey. Right? This is really about helping people and getting everyone to be to a place of optimal quality of life. All right. So let me hear from you. Thank you for celebrating the 4 years with me, guys. And let me just say this. Know that we are growing together. If this podcast has ever inspired you, educated you, motivate you, trust me, that is the intention. Know that we are always sharing the tea. And now you can buy me a coffee. Yes, buy me a coffee is my digital tip jar. So if, like I said, once again, if this podcast has ever done anything for you, you can now support the mission of me continuously fighting against asthma disparities, doing the community outreach, continuing to do this work through the digital tip jar, buy me a coffee / the Asthma Lady. Yes, guys, thank you so much in advance. All right, guys. So know that we are here on most podcast platforms on Wednesdays, except for when I'm on vacation. And we are on YouTube on Thursdays. So much to come in year 4. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.